All right, so in this one, what I want to do is add a little bit of pizzazz to what we have here, as well as sort of set this up for our animation later on, like because next week we'll be animating this. So one thing first, what I'll do is I'm just going to break this up into multiple shapes, and not shapes like you see here, where it's one logo that's basically cut into stuff, which is most often how you're actually going to build your logos. But instead, what I'm going to do is make one circle and actually have these be separate pieces. And that way I can kind of animate them coming in or whatever I want to do with them. Do a little bit more with them than what you see here. And I think that will be a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do is actually turn this off and lock it, turn this one back on. I'm going to go ahead and do the opacity at 25% again, and we're going to kind of remake it. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to the oval tool, and we're going to build a new one, a new layer. So we'll just call this one all together, okay? And then we'll just call this circle, okay? And I'm just going to do basically the same thing. So I'm just going to click here, hold Alt and Shift, and try to get the size somewhat correct. All right, once I get that far, I'm just going to put it in the line mode, hit the Q or the free transform, use my arrow keys, and that's pretty good. It's close enough. Okay, so that looks fine. So that's what I want. I'm just going to turn this back off, and I don't want the outline. So I'm going to go here, double click on the stroke, and delete it. Okay, that's all I want for that. That's the background circle. Let's go ahead and lock that and turn it off as well. Now what I want to do is make the next shapes. So this is obviously just like a square. So what I'm going to do is go up here, go to the rectangle tool, and we are going to draw a square or a rectilinear shape. Now I just want it to overlap. So we'll go like that. And what I'm going to do is, I could double click on it, but just to show you another way, if I double click on the, let me get closer here. If I double click on the fill, come on, it keeps clicking on the stroke for some reason. Oh, I guess it is selecting the whole thing. It's kind of weird. I think it's because, I'm not sure why that's happening. But it is selecting the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is go to stroke here and just turn the stroke off so there is no stroke. Or actually, I just made the stroke transparent. Never mind. I'm going to click on the thing there. Why does that look so weird? It's just like weirdly, I don't know. Anyway, we'll call that good. Actually, I'm going to change the color here. And for now, I'm going to make it slightly off-white. The reason being, oh, you know what we can do? We can leave this white, actually. Let's go ahead and make this white. And then, but I can't see it, right? So what I'm going to do is have nothing selected. I'm going to take my stage, and let's make that like mid-gray. And that way I can actually see the white. And then what we're going to do is we will just call this layer stripes. For now, I'm going to put all of them on the same one. So let's move this over a little bit. And I'm just going to hold Alt and Shift. And we'll pull one down here. And that looks too big. So we're going to delete that. We're going to go to this one. I'm going to hit Q. I'm going to put on the lines. And yeah, you can see it's definitely too big. And I'm going to hold Alt so it only does one side. Right there. I'm still holding Alt. And there we go. That should be a little bit better. It's a little bit hard because it's a little bit fuzzy. Okay. I'm going to put the lines back off. I'm going to go back to the select tool, and then I'm going to hold Alt now, click and drag. I'm also going to hold Shift just to keep it in line, and do that again. Good. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Okay, so there's our stripes, and now we need to do that next shape here. Okay, so go ahead, lock and hide, do another one, and we'll call this, I don't know, swoosh. I don't know what you would call that. It's going to control and middle mouse button click. And we're just going to build it the same way as before. So I'm going to grab this. And what I'm going to do is, yeah, I just got the line tool here. So kind of like before, I'm going to click here to here. And I do want it to wait a minute, that's the wrong one, sorry. Here to here. And here to here. Hit V for the select tool, this one. Click and drag, put this roughly where that's supposed to go. Put this up across. Pull this back down. Good. Come on. Yoink. And yoink. Yoink. We got to make sure that it overlaps. That looks fine. Okay. And that looks pretty good. I do need the something to go across here as well. So we have to think about what we want to do to make that happen. I think what might be helpful is if we turn on the circle, but leave it visibility. So make it so we can see it, but leave it locked. Go back to my line tool, and what I'm going to do is Control plus plus, hold spacebar for grab, and we're just going to click and drag from here to here, then hit V, and I'm just going to try and match that up. It's not going to be perfect, but at least it'll be there. Delete, delete. I'm just going to click on each one of these little nublets and delete them, holding spacebar. Hit N for the line tool again, click and drag. You can see I actually didn't go far enough there. Hit V for the select tool, make sure that overlaps. Then delete this nublet, delete that nublet, boom, boom, and then grab this. Good, and Control minus minus. Okay, so now this needs to be filled with a shape. We can do this a couple different ways. I could just double click on this whole thing and, oh, it's not gonna be the option, never mind. So we'll just use the fill. Click on the fill, you see there's white, boom, boom, good. And then I'm just gonna double click on this. See if I double click on it, see now you can see it's highlighting. I'll hold shift, double click on this. You see it gives me the stroke and that. So that's another way of doing it, but I'm just gonna delete on that. Okay, good. So now we have that part too. This has actually gotta go a little bit more. Make sure that it goes past, it has to go past that. Okay, good, good. All right, so now we got the swoosh and the stripes. And I haven't saved this at all. I should probably be saving it. So let's go desktop, and we'll just call this logo graphic. We'll call it cone logo graphic. Cone logo graphic. All right. So I have these graphics here, but what I want to do is actually mask it so that way you don't see the edges of this. And you'll see why in a little bit. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is actually duplicate this layer. So I'm just going to right click, duplicate layers. We're just going to put it above the swoosh and the stripe. And I'm just going to call it circle underscore mask. Okay. Then all you're going to do is right click on it and you're going to go mask. And what you're going to see is that the swoosh here is now being masked by it. It's kind of hard to tell, but it cut it where it was. Okay. So this is just a copy of the circle. I still need the circle in the back because that's what needs to be there. I need the stripe to also do that. So I could do the same thing, make another mask, or I can just add it to it. So I'm just going to drag it up and right underneath the swoosh. And now you can see that this gets cut off. And just so you get the idea of exactly what's happening here, you'll notice that they're locked. So I'm going to unlock it. But if I were to grab these and then move them over like this, and then lock this back up again, you see that now, see how it's getting cut off? So it's only showing inside of this. It's kind of like a clipping mask, if you're familiar with that with Photoshop, which you should be, but in case you aren't, there you go. So now those are clipped. And what that'll allow me to do is that later on, I can animate these like animating moving up, and they will only show inside of the shape. And so it gives it a little bit more flexibility. Now they're separate pieces, makes things a little bit easier, right? Okay, good. So we have that part. That looks pretty fine. Let's go. So we have the all together here, which I have. I'm going to unlock or make that visible and unlock it. And I'm going to grab this, and we're going to Control C, and then I'm going to turn this back off again. And let's just make a new layer, Control Shift V, and we'll just call this text. And now we have that. So what I want to show you with this is that we can just basically add some effects and such. So if you look, we have filters. Looks like it doesn't have the other one. I guess that's only for symbols. But we could do these filters here. So for instance, I'm going to grab both of them because I'm also doing both. You can see filters, this little plus, and you can see we can do a gradient bevel, adjust color, gradient glow, bevel glow. But I'm just going to do drop shadow, which is kind of cheesy, but. And let's do, and that's an awful lot. Let's do like 2 for both of those. An angle, let's not do 45. Let's do, can this, okay, can, this way. I want to go a little bit more. Let's do 60. So wait, it's a little bit more on the down. I'm going to unlock that and make the blur on the Y. Oh, never mind. The blur wasn't the problem. Actually, we want that to be 2 as well. I want the distance to be less. There we go. I was thinking that was the distance. Okay. And there's other effects as well, like glow and all that other stuff. But you can see that adds a little bit more to it. And then what we can also do is maybe on the circle here, which I have locked, I'm just going to go ahead and you can see there's color effects. Now you're going to notice that I don't, oh, it does have it. Never mind. Hide objects. There's also blending modes, which might be helpful. So if you're familiar with those, you can do your blending modes. What we're going to do on this one is do a, really only like the one. Let's just do drop shadow again. And then, let's see, frame. Yeah, see, it's not working because it's on the frame and not on the object. So in order to make that work, what I'm going to have to do, I was surprised it gave me the option. What you're going to have to do is actually, so I'm going to click off and click back on, so it grabs that circle. And then if I hit F8 or you go modify, convert to symbol, and we'll just put this logo circle underscore MC. Now I should be able to select it, and then I can now add the drop shadow. See, now the drop shadow will work. And we're going to do 2, and we're going to make it 60. And I think the shadow actually is a little bit dark, so I'm going to take the alpha and let's do like 50%. Let's do that to these two. The alpha is pretty dark on it. Oops, don't want that. Click on this, and we'll make it 50%. And let's just turn... Where's the white coming from altogether? Oh, right there. Let's turn that off. And then you can see we've now got our logo, right? So that's a real rough way of kind of doing it. And it's sort of set up for animation in a little bit. I'll probably make another video just to do something a little bit more complicated. But hopefully you get an idea just from that.